It's a trainer down here.
And with our Division I girls race, also top ranked here, San Clemente. They're ranked number 5. They were second in the South Coast League. They were 8th here a year ago, ranked number 9 in California. So Division I girls all ready to go. One more race remaining. Congratulations to our top 15 boys there in the Division IV boys. Meanwhile, back to Division I girls. Braylon Combe, the senior, Arkansas bound from Santiago. She was 4th here a year ago. She's going to take this group through that first 3/4 of a mile, a point at 3:07. And Maylee Bayless, she was runner-up a year ago from Trabuco Hill. She led them to the team championship. She is in part of that group, that chase group right now. We had Elizabeth Jacqueline of Martin Luther King, Charlotte Hopkins of Arcadia, Nadia Mejia of Wilson. So our leader, the senior out of Santiago, Braylon Combe, continuing to lead the charge, but taking a very talented group along for the ride here. They're maybe about 5 seconds behind as she's going to be coming through the mile mark momentarily. And Combe coming through at 5:15, but a whole group right there under 5:20, including Hopkins of Arcadia, Bayless of Trabuco Hills, Loza of Hemet, Elizabeth Jacqueline also going under 5:20, Addison Johns of Santiago, and Manhadas, the 9th grader out of Hesperia, she came through at 5:21. Bolenbach of Riverside Poly coming through at 5:23. Drew Witch of King at 5:25. The Maricosta, number 1 ranked, number 2 in California, they're going to lead the way. So Braylon Combe now at the very bottom of the airstrip, making to make that U-turn and work her way back up. Amelie Bayless and Hopkins of Arcadia maintaining contact. You got Jacqueline of Martin Luther King having a great senior season there. And Addison Johns, the 9th grader out of Santiago, big team points there, right there with Gabriela Loza of Hemet. Amelie Bayless now starting to make a move on the way up. Bayless made this move with her teammate Holly Barker about a year ago where she finished runner-up. And Trabuco Hills and Santiago, it's been a very familiar battle here in the Division I scene the last 2 seasons, but Bayless now making the move. She'll be heading off to BYU next fall. Meanwhile, right there on your right side, that is Combe. He'll be heading off to Arkansas. And in their background, we got Miss Hopkins of Arcadia. She'll be heading off to the University of Washington in the fall. But here we go, about halfway through. Bayless has now made the move, and Combe looking to answer. Remember, Combe is your defending California State champion in the 1,600 meters. Bayless continuing to lead the charge here in this Division I girls race. But let's go back to the mile at the team scores. Maricosta top ranked. They had an 18-point advantage over Santiago. They came through in an 8-second bubble with all 5 of their scorers. Right now, Santiago ahead of Trabuco Hills by 42 points. Then you had Martin Luther King in 4th, Long Beach Wilson in 5th, San Clemente in 6th, and Crescenta Valley holding on to that 7th and last qualifying spot. But again, that's very early on through the 1 mile mark with Maricosta as your team leaders. Maricosta, they've actually never won. They've taken a couple runner-up spots here over their history. They won the D2 title in 2021, but looking at their first D1 title here in 2025. But Bayless continuing to edge just a little further ahead. What was maybe about a 3-meter lead is now worked out to about a 5 or 6 meter lead as she makes that left turn on the back part of the course around the back parking lot. So it's Bayless and Combe, Trabuco Hills, and Santiago. And Millie Bayless, the senior out of Trabuco Hills, really a big part of their resurgence as a program here over the last several years. As last year, Trabuco Hills set the all-time Woodward Park team time course, and Bales being a big part of that movement. And she's going to come across the 2 mile at 10:41. 10:41, but Combe not going anywhere. 10:45 with less than a mile to go. And Jacqueline leading this group at 10:57, but Addison Johns, that's Santiago's number 2 that has joined that group, along with Charlotte Hopkins and Gabriella Loza of Hemet. Emma Alba of Beckman going across that 2 mile mark, and Mara Costa, 4, all within 3 seconds of each other. And there's their number 5 coming across. So Mara Costa, less than a mile away from their first D1 championship. Meanwhile, Millie Bayless continues to charge forward and open up a bigger lead here with about a little more than 3/4 of a mile to go. So Bayless came across at 10:41, home at 10:45, Addison Johns at 10:57 to Santiago with huge points up front, but Mara Costa countering that with their 5 scores, all within 19 seconds of each other with less than a mile to go. Meanwhile, Trabuco Hills has moved up from 3rd into 2nd, so the Mustangs of Trabuco Hills, your defending champions, sat back a little there on that first mile, now really trying to take over here on the 2nd mile and try to chase down Mara Costa. San Clemente in that 4th spot, and Long Beach Wilson, they're right now in that 5th spot. Wilson trying to make it for the first time since 2002 to make it to the state meet. Wilson in that 5th spot, 15 points ahead of Martin Luther King and Great Oak in 7th. So the BYU-bound senior from Trabuco Hills, he sat back at that first mile, made her move on this same airstrip about 6 minutes ago, and has not looked back. She continues to open up on that lead, getting ready to go. She goes back the gauntlet there, about to take that left turn and work her way towards the stadium. But team-wise, with less than a mile to go, Mara Costa in control with a 33-point advantage over Trabuco Hills. And Great Oak moving into that last spot at 7th. Great Oak has made it to the California State Meet 16 years in a row and trying to make this number 17. And here we go. We are about 400 meters to go, going up that last hill there. Millie Bayless making that left turn. She can now hear us here in the stadium. This is your Division I girls final. Braylon Combe going to try to make up this gap here over the last 400 meters. And Bayless and Combe, we reminded you that Combe was your state champion in the 1,600 meters. And Combe with a huge surge. She helped lead her squad to the 4x8 state title in track season. But going off to Arkansas to fall, Combe with one more answer to go. Bayless going to counter with 2:50 to go. Braylon Combe, she was fourth here a year ago, and what was a 15-meter deficit has now become about a 10-second, 10-meter advantage. This is Braylon Combe, senior out of Santiago, and a great battle there for third place between Hopkins, Jacqueline, Johns, and Loza. But your senior from Santiago, at 16:07, your CAF champion, Braylon Combe, Santiago. Millie Bayless, 16:12. And it's Hopkins of Arcadia, Jacqueline of King, Addison Johns of Santiago on the outside, Loza, Emma Alba of Beckman closing strong, Alana Clark leading the charge there from Maricosta. But Big 8 league rivals there. That's Jacqueline of King, Johns of Santiago. Johns with that last move. Two of the top three, Hopkins, Alba, Loza, Clark, Swiginnis of San Clemente, Skylar Watts of Tribuco, Bolenbach of Riverside Poly, Nadia Mejia of Wilson leading the way for the Bruins. Here comes Maricosta's 2 and 3. 4, and here comes their number 5. Maricosta. They lay down the hammer. They came in ranked number 1 after their Bay League finals and left no doubt here over these last 3 miles. They will be your Division I CIF team champions. And now Santiago right there in second spot. Santiago and Tribuco going back and forth between those first 2 miles. But your CIF individual champion, 16:07 exactly, from Santiago, Braylon Combe. Millie Bayless, great move in the middle of the race there. Tribuco Hill, 16:12.5.
Our second and